My name is Kiva, and I wanted to tell you about my pregnancy story, as you can tell from the title. I've already filmed this once, but I felt like I didn't give enough detail, and I actually got my timeline messed up, and it was aggravating me. So I got my timeline together, got my facts together. Here we go. So, me and my husband have been married for 3 years and 3 months. We got married December 17, 2016, and we decided together that instead of rushing into having another baby, because he did already have 2 children, or he has 2 children from a previous marriage, that we would wait until he was done with college, and then we would start trying. So he graduated May of 2017, and we decided that we would start trying April of 2017, since he was basically done with all his classes and everything. He was just waiting to graduate. So we started trying, and we basically just tried on our own. No doctors, just trying to do it naturally. Well, we tried for about, I want to say, a year and a half on our own, from April until about October of 2018. No. Timeline sucks. So we tried to about October of 2017. That's when I kind of started to get a little worried because it wasn't happening. Also, I knew just from researching and things like that it was going to be a bit harder for me to get pregnant because I have irregular periods. I have never, since the day I started my period, has it ever been regular. Sometimes I can go 3 months without having a period. And when you're younger, it really doesn't concern you, but married and everything. So I decided that I would see a fertility doctor, or I would see like a regular OB, and see what they say, see what they can do for me. And then if they couldn't, then I would go see a fertility doctor. So I asked around, and I just went to a regular fertility doctor who I currently see now through my pregnancy. October of 2017, I started seeing her. So she asked me questions like, are your periods regular? How long have you been trying naturally? Just things like that, like medical history. Have you ever had a miscarriage? Have you ever been pregnant before? Do you have PCOS? Things like that. And no one had ever told me that I had PCOS, and I don't have major period pains that can't be controlled with 2 or 3 ibuprofens and a good nap. So she said that most likely I didn't have PCOS, so she wanted to start me on a fertility drug called Clomid. She started me on Clomid and metformin. So with the metformin, I needed to take that every day, and I had a year's supply of that. But with the Clomid, I could only take it 3 rounds. You can only take 3 rounds because I guess it gets less potent or something. So you can only take 3 rounds. But because my period was so irregular, I would probably take it, let's say October, but I won't have another period until December, so I couldn't take it again until December. So this is why my gap of like treatment took so long. So after I finished the Clomid and I didn't get pregnant, I didn't go back to the doctor right away. So at this point, I'm in 2018 because of the irregular period, and I didn't get pregnant. So around probably the next year of 2018, around the same time, because we were also going through a transition with our kids, I went back to the doctor. And because I hadn't had a period, or not a period, but because I hadn't gotten pregnant on the Clomid, she decided that I should probably get the HSG test and try a different fertility treatment. Well, because I didn't have insurance, we were paying for everything out of pocket, and the HSG test, which I can't remember what it stands for, it cost about $650. So I waited a while, just so we can save the money, so we weren't like picking out of our savings or bill money or anything like that. So it was fine. We were good with waiting. So around March of 2019, around March of 2019, she decided that I should, since my periods were so irregular, that I should start birth control. I've never been on birth control. I've always been afraid of birth control because I have witnessed women who have had strokes or complications due to birth control. But she was telling me it would only be for a short amount of time, maybe a few months, and then I would have my HSG test and then get off of it. So I was like, okay, if it's only gonna be for a few months or whatever. Mind you, I didn't take them like I was supposed to, because I'm forgetful. But my husband always tried to like remind me, you know, hey, did you take your birth control? So I took my birth control all the way up until June of 2000. So I took my birth control all the way up until June of 2019. And I had my timeline wrong because when I went back to her about the HSG test, it was 2018, October 2018. So I meant to say 2019, March of 2019 is when we went back and she suggested that I start birth control. Okay, so it's June of 2019 and I'm over taking metformin, I'm over taking birth control. I'm over it. So I'm like, okay, babe, we just need to like spend the money and get it done because I'm ready to be pregnant. He was probably ready to stop hearing me moan about it. I was ready, like my clock was like ready. So June of 2019, I had the HSG test, which is you go to the hospital in the, not lab, but the radiology. You go back into radiology and they insert the thing that they do like your pap with. They insert that and then they insert a tube. They insert a tube. I can't think of the tube name, but they insert a tube, and then in that tube they shoot in dye. So the purpose of the HSG test is to see if you have any blockage in your fallopian tubes, any blockage in your cervix. So they insert it all the way into your cervix, they put the dye, and the dye spreads over into your cervix, and it's supposed to go through your tubes and out through your uterus. Well, when he was doing mine, and he also told me that he could see if my cervix was tilted. And I was like, okay. But I guess that can also be a thing for like infertility and tilted cervix. So as he was doing my test, he was letting me see, okay, this is where your fallopian tubes are, this is where we needed to exit, and things like that. So I watched the dye come out of my tubes, and it was clear in my uterus. He explained everything while it was happening, so I understood and I knew. So he was like, there's nothing wrong. You're open, it's fine. So after that, the pain, he was like, the other tech, the girl that was in there with me, she was like, listen, when you get home, you need to take like 4 ibuprofens, because for some people it can be very painful. So I'm like, okay. So when I'm leaving, I feel fine. I'm okay. Well, probably 10 minutes after getting in the car, and we're about 30 minutes from the hospital, so about 10 minutes after getting in the car, this excruciating pain comes over me, and I am to the point where I can't even get out of my car to walk in the house. I had no medication on hand, so when I got in the house, I took it. It did nothing. I was popping ibuprofen like it was Skittles. That's how bad I was in pain. I mean, the pain lasted for at least 3 days. I had to have help getting out of the bed. I could barely use the restroom. I could barely roll over. It was excruciating. And once it did start to die down, it still was like a period pain. So after I got that procedure done, I made another appointment with my OB, and just so that she could go over my results and things like that. So once I made another appointment with her, that was in July of 2019, I made another appointment. She put me on Lazerol. I think that's what it's called, letrozole. Something Zol. So I'll find it and I'll put it in here. But she put me on that. She also told me to continue the metformin, and I had to wait for another period. I had already had a period in July, so I had to wait for another period, which would be in August. I also stopped the birth control back in June after I had my procedure, because she told me that I could. So I stopped the birth control. So at this point, my periods are regular, and she said that birth control, once you get off, helps to regulate your helps to boost boosts your fertility. So August, the beginning of August, I had a period, and I took my medication. But for some reason, I think it was just all the stress of the past 2 years of, wondering if I'm going to get pregnant, and, every month taking a test, being late, or just the stress of it all, or not having a period at all. And you're wondering, hey, I haven't had a period for like 2 months. I could be pregnant, and you're not. So the disappointment and everything. So I told my husband after I took the medication, I was like, you know what? I'm done. I think I'm done trying, because I'm so tired. I'm tired of people, asking me, when am I gonna get pregnant? Are we trying? And I was literally just to the point that when people did ask me, I would just be like, I don't know. Maybe I don't. Maybe, like, my aunt asked me once. She was like, "Are you pregnant?" And I'm like, and I walked away. I was just so tired of it. I was just so tired of it all. So September rolls around, and it's September 19th, and I'm about to work. I used to work from home, and I'm about to clock in for my shift, but I'm texting my husband who's at work, and I'm like, hey, me and my cousin, we're thinking about taking the girls to Disney this weekend, and we're gonna go to Epcot, and we're gonna turn up at Epcot, and drink around the world and stuff like that. And he was like, baby, you've been, really sick lately, and you think you're up for it? And I'm like, yeah, I just want to get out of the house, have a good time, whatever. He's like, you know what? I think you should take a pregnancy test. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not taking another pregnancy test. And he's like, listen, I just think, just to be safe, I think you should take one. So I was like, no. And I stopped texting him, because I wanted him to stop telling me to take the test. But I don't know, something like deep inside of me was like, dang, girl, when's the last time you had a period? So I'm thinking, I'm sitting at my desk, not clocking in, but like getting everything ready, and I'm like, I should have one. I should have had one by now if my periods have become regular, or maybe I'm just missing it again. So I was like, you know what? I'll take one. So I go in my bathroom and I look through my drawer, and usually I have like 5 little $1 tests, whatever. I had none. So I just like moved some stuff to the side. I'm like, I found one. I'm like, okay. So I'll take it, to appease him, to let him know that I'm not pregnant and I'll be fine or whatever for the weekend. So I take the test and I put it down. We have like a little stool. I take the test and I put it, oh no you didn't, son. Ratchet. Hold on, let me see if I can. There. So I put the test on our little stool and I walk away. And when I took the test, I had about 10 minutes until I had to clock in. So at this point, I have like 2 minutes to clock in. And I'm sitting at my desk and I'm kind of just twirling my fingers waiting. And I was like, oh, the pregnancy test. So I walk in the room and I'm just like taking my sweet time, and I open the bathroom door and I look down at the test and I'm like, what? What? Matter of fact, I have it. Oh my goodness. So I'm like, what? No, this cannot be right. I don't know if I can get it. I'm like, no way. and I start to bawl, crying. I am like thanking God. I am so happy, but immediately like fear and I don't know, something just, and now the sun wants to come back. It is killing my vibe. So like fear sets in that it's a false positive. So I'm like running back to my computer so I can clock in for work. And I actually had 2 hours of work, but what I was gonna do is pick up more hours. But your girl needed to go to the store and get another test. Yeah. So I didn't pick up any hours. I did my little 2 hours. I ran to the school because my son had a fever, so the school was calling me. So I ran to the school, picked him up, and I went to the Just a Dollar store to get one of the digital tests. So I ran home because my husband is about to get off of work, and if it's true, I want to tell him because he had to leave to go to a doctor's appointment out of town. So I'm like, hurry. And then I needed to know, like, my nerves and my anxiety just would not chill. So I like run into the house and I take the test, and I'm pacing at the door, at the bathroom door, and I'm like pacing. And on the test it says it takes like 3 minutes for you to get your results. And this is the clear blue pregnant, not pregnant test. I'm pacing at the door, and like I'm looking, like I'm not even like looking around, I'm looking at this thing, and it's like doing the little monitor thing, and it comes up in like 30 seconds, pregnant, which is right here on her wall. So it comes back pregnant. So I'm like screaming. I'm so excited. It's like the best day of my life. I don't know. It was literally like the best day of my life. So now I'm like, oh my God, I gotta tell him, do I have time to like run to the store and get some like balloons or something, a card or something? So I'm like looking at the clock, and it's 3 o'clock. I was like, I have no time. He gets off at 3. My husband don't play no games. He clocks out at 3, and he is in the car and gone. He coming home. He don't like to be at work very long after, you know, his time. So I know he's on his way home, so I have to figure out something. So I put both tests in an envelope, and I wrote, oh Jesus, and I wrote, I'm gonna say what I wrote on it because it has bad words and good words on it. My mama didn't like what I said, but I didn't care. So I wrote that, and I put both tests in it. So on the test, he had my car, I had his truck, and I knew that he was going to take his truck to the doctor's appointment. So I put the envelope in the car, and he's nosy. So that's why I know if I ask him to give me something, he's going to look at it before he gets to it, because he nosy. He nosy like me. It's fine. So he gets home, and I'm like trying to be as calm as possible. Yeah, babe, how was your day? That's good. Oh yeah. You headed out to your doctor's appointment? Okay, I'm gonna walk you to the car. You know, walking into the car, joking and laughing with him like we always do, just trying to be as calm as possible. But in the inside, I'm just like, ah! So he gets in, and I'm like, oh babe, can you give me that envelope? And he's like, what envelope? Like, why are you always adjusting my chair? Like, he worried about everything else. And I'm like, give me the envelope that's in the door. So he grabs the envelope. Now the door is here. The door is here. I'm in between him and the door, and then him. This is how you know my husband is nosy. So he's like, babe, move out the way. You're in the way. So he grabs the envelope, and he like picks it up, and he's like, And he's reading it and he's like, what is this? So he starts to open it, and the first one that he pulls out is the pink one. He's like, I don't understand. I don't know. But as he's saying that, he's pulling out the clear blue digital that says pregnant. And so he pulls it out and he reads it, and he instantly starts to cry, which makes me cry. So we were both like water bags in the front yard, in the car, crying. So my phone died as I was just at the end of my story. Yep, that happened. But I believe what I was saying, that we were crying. We were very emotional. And I think what made me cry was, although I know he was on board with having another baby, you never really know how much it means when they already have previous children. So for him to get emotional, I was like, okay, like we're in this together. Like, he's happy, I'm happy, we're happy. Yes, we did it. I was really, really, really super happy. If you have any other questions as far as the fertility treatment goes, go ahead and comment below and leave your questions, and I will respond as soon as I can. And if you like this video, go ahead and leave a thumbs up for me, and welcome to our family. Go ahead and subscribe. Bye.